This episode is sponsored by Stokes Coffee, from our Lincoln roastery to your cup.
LinksPod. Tales and entertainment for the people of Lincolnshire with John Marshall.
Happy Easter! And before we get into this, please hit subscribe right now. It's free to click it. You'll just get notified when I put out some new stuff, and it really helps me out a lot. This is episode 3 of the second season of LinksPod, and I'm John Marshall. In this episode, well, there's loads. Easter holiday ideas are plenty. We're doing the big quiz. A chocolatey challenge will be happening. We're going to meet a fascinating young actor. His name is Ryan. There's a trip to the movies with my movie man, Peter Marshall. And you'll find out how your daisy-made ice cream is made, and much more. First, though, let's meet our sponsor and let's talk coffee.
LinksPod.
Well, I'm Nick Peel, and you're at Stokes head office.
In a rather nice office. They call this an office. I've been told this. Come to my office. It's a living room. Where's this sofa arrived from?
It's one of my mother's old ones.
Well,
she didn't want any more. So I get lumbered with a lot of stuff.
Your mum knows my mum. We grew up not far from each other, did we?
Yeah.
Street or two away.
Yes, we did.
And some years have gone by since then. You've remained in good shape. I've let myself go.
Oh, you're looking good.
Okay, sure. Nick, talk a bit about the history of Stokes Coffee, because it's been a Lincolnshire thing for many, many years.
Yeah. Well, it started in 1902. It was my great-grandfather. He was working at a grocer's shop on Guildhall Street, and at the time there wasn't very good tea and coffee being offered.
Right.
So he got quite passionate about it and started winning lots of awards for his tea blending, his coffee roasting, and built up a successful retail business, and then moved into the hospitality trade. He bought a cafe which was located on Lincoln High Street, 206 High Street, I believe the address.
Is that not the current location?
No.
Oh, right.
No.
Okay.
So there's a story there.
Yeah.
Marks and Spencers were desperate to come to Lincoln, and so they would regularly write to him and ask if he would sell the cafe. It was called the Arcadia, and one year, I think 1937, he just suggested a ridiculous figure, thinking it would just get them off his back. And apparently a cheque arrived for the full amount the next day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Next day?
So they had to move. So they moved next door to the High Bridge.
And that is where the Stokes...
we've been there since 1937.
Wow, that's incredible. And since 1937... it was one branch for some time, and then expansion began?
Yeah, there were several other. They had one at the Cornhill, where I think River Island's there now.
Yeah.
But that was a cafe. I think that closed in the 60s. And they had one up in the Vale, where the grill restaurant, the Antlers.
Okay, so 3 in Lincoln at one point.
Yeah, and then went back to, the whole time I was growing up, we just had the one.
Okay.
And then I moved away. My father was running the business,
Sure.
and when I came back, I thought, let's,
Get in there.
Let's grow this a bit.
And was that, when you were growing up, was that your ambition to one day run the Stokes empire, or did you think, did you have other ambitions?
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, I grew up in the business, and I worked, every holiday and had a Saturday job washing dishes in the cafe, and then I helped my brother roast the coffee. And then I moved away for 20 odd years and pursued a different career. And then my mum and dad, they were getting to retirement age, and they said, if you want to have a go at it, now's the time.
Right.
So I moved back and came back I intended to come back for a year or two, and it's been 20 years now.
Once you've got a sofa like this in your office,
you can't leave,
suggests
can you?
things are going okay. So, what do you have now then? There's not 3 branches in Lincoln. I guess there's 2 in Lincoln.
In Lincoln, we've got the High Bridge.
High Bridge,
and we've also taken over the next door, because the High Bridge was always split. It was 3 houses.
Oh, right.
And we always had most of the top floors, but the ground floors were different shops. At one point it was Ratner's Jewellers.
We all know what happened there.
Yeah. So now we've got the whole building. So we have a Stokes, it's like a Stokes to go.
Okay.
So it's for takeaway and if you're in a bit of a hurry. And we've also got our main cafe here at the Lawn. We have one in Welton, small coffee shop.
I've been in there, yeah.
Yeah. We've got a stall in the Cornhill Market.
Oh, have you?
Yes.
How is that Cornhill Market performing?
It's on the up, I think.
Right.
It's had teething problems, but I think now they've got somebody really looking at it, and they're gonna do the right thing.
And as well as the ones you've got, you also supply a lot of other places with your product.
Yeah.
Where is that manufactured then?
Downstairs.
Oh, really?
So yeah, if you're familiar with the Lawn as it was, there used to be a function room in the middle. Well, now that's our factory.
Wow, and it all is blended in there.
Blended and roasted,
that's a fascinating thing. How to make the blend the same every time.
Yeah.
There's got to be a science behind that.
Well, there is, and I mean it's becoming very scientific now, because there's a big movement for specialty coffee. Right. So whereas a blend you'll use 2 or 3 different beans and make the flavour always the same, with specialty coffees what you're doing, you're experimenting with roasting to bring out certain flavours that are already in the bean.
Okay. So, wow, it's a fascinating science. When did that shift happen where we just had a coffee or not a coffee, and then there's a flat white and a latte and so on? Do you know when that came about?
Well, I think in the 80s, 90s, with all the coffee chains, Starbucks and Costa and stuff, that really, brought coffee to people's attention. And then lots of independents kind of jumped on that bandwagon and did it actually better, if I dare say, than the coffee chains.
There's a big difference, isn't there? At one point we would all just have an instant coffee at home.
Yeah.
Maybe not you, Nick, with a family business, but generally speaking. And then it's totally next level if you go and have a nicely made coffee.
I mean, when I first came back, I was 2004, and I remember the statistics were 80% of people in the UK were drinking instant coffee at home.
Really?
Still. I hope that's changed.
It's changed big time. And I've avoided. I bought one time at home a coffee maker that's beyond a kettle but not top level. I think what you miss out on is the social bit. It's where people say, let's meet for a coffee.
Yeah.
And if you've got a fancy machine at home, you feel obliged to make the coffee at home.
Yeah.
You're missing out on the experience
exactly.
of going out and visiting places like this. So, long may it continue, Nick.
Yeah.
Any future development plans we can reveal, or is it just keep going at it?
Well, we've opened in Newark recently as well. We've got brand new coffee shop there, which is kind of a scaled down version of the Lawn. We have a coffee roaster there, so we're producing the coffee. You can watch it being roasted.
Wow.
And that's the latest project. And we've also got the hotel opposite now, Charlotte House. So it's kind of growing.
I came for a coffee with my parents, and your mum had told my mum that Nicholas has bought a little hotel. And we were sat there, and Mum said, I think that's it.
Yeah.
It's massive. It's not a little
hotel.
Well,
it's not that big. It's small for a hotel, but
hotel-wise,
it's big enough. Yeah.
It's one of the smallest hotels you've ever owned.
Yeah.
Yes.
From Grimsby to Sleaford, Scunthorpe to Mablethorpe, this is Linkspod.
And later, we'll take a tour of the Stokes factory to see just how their amazing coffee is made. It's the Easter holidays, and I'm your man for ideas to keep you and the children entertained. Easter at the Adventure Playground at Belvoir Castle could be for you. You can clown around on Belvoir Castle's Adventure Playground, which is open throughout the Easter holidays. There's a circus-themed trail full of twists, turns, buntings and balloons, leading to an iconic Hall of Mirrors. Well, that sounds good, with a circus-inspired surprise at the end. Springfield's at Spalding, they've got their Easter egg trail with the Cadbury outlet. You can take the family on a journey through Springfield's beautiful 15-acre festival gardens. You find the clues, solve the questions and claim a fantastic Easter egg prize. Bookings in advance for that, and it's online only to do your booking. Ice cream is a great idea all year round, of course, in my opinion, and no better time than at Easter. Bundle the family into the car and head down to Daisy Maid Farm at Scunthorpe. For more on Daisy Maid, you can check out episode 8 of the first season of Links Pod, but here's some bonus content from my visit there. Let's take a tour of their ice cream factory.
Links Pod.
These are our pasteurising machines. So they produce 120 litres each of liquid ice cream mix per cycle. And what they will do, we put all of our raw ingredients into here. So milk, double cream, sugar, skim milk powder, and a very clever emulsifier and stabiliser. It will heat it up to 76 degrees.
You start the ice cream process with heat?
We start the ice cream process with heat,
Okay.
yeah. So we take it up to 76 degrees. It holds there for about 20 minutes. And then to complete the pasteurisation process, it has to cool down to below 7.2 degrees within 90 minutes. From there, we would take the liquid mix out of the pasteuriser. We would pour it into one of these machines. Again, we've got one each side, so we can have 2 people in here manufacturing at the same time. So this is what we call a freezing barrel. The outside of this barrel gets very, very cold, and all the time, this blade in here, which has plastic scrapers on it, scrapes the frozen mix away from the outside of the barrel. Now, if you remember your chemistry from when you were at school...
Yeah, I don't.
Right, well, crystallisation. If you form a crystal very, very slowly, you get a nice big crystal, which is why people like big diamonds that have formed slowly over thousands of years, you get a nice big diamond crystal. You form a crystal very, very fast, you get very, very small crystals. Now with ice cream, you want small crystals, you don't want it
no big chunks of ice.
Yeah, exactly. So this will freeze 10 litres of our liquid mix down in about 4 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a fairly quick process, faster than I thought.
It's a powerful machine.
Yeah.
So that's why if you leave your ice cream out the freezer and it melts around the edge, you put it back in your normal freezer, when you eat that melted bit, it has like a gritty, sandy texture.
Yes.
It's because you get big ice crystals in there, it doesn't freeze fast enough.
Right.
So these are powerful.
So tell me, with all these, with that machine and then this machine,
yeah,
what differentiates your ice cream taste to someone else's who's got the same things? The components you put in it?
Yeah, so there's the ingredients that you use. Obviously, the better quality ingredients you use to begin with, the better the ice cream you're going to get out at the end.
Yeah.
We're obviously using fresh milk. We're using high quality ingredients and double cream, and we're using high quality flavourings. And so our ice cream is also very fresh. So we'll make it in here. It goes into our blast freezers, which we'll have a look at in a minute, and then it's over to the shop and it's ready to eat.
That bit I'm looking forward to. Okay, it's cold in here. All the flavours. You could survive in here for months, as long as you like ice cream.
What we aim to do is go from grass in the field, being grazed by the cattle, through the ice cream factory, into the freezers and over to the shop, and that will take about a week to go from grass to cone.
Really?
Yeah.
Grass to cone in 1 week at Daisy Maid. There's Easter Adventures at Gunby Hall at Spilsby, a cracking Easter egg hunt leading you through an adventure of their grounds. A family-friendly day out and Easter activities galore, ensuring you all have a cracking time. If you fancy a trip to Gainsborough, Marshall's Yard have their Easter extravaganza on the 19th of April between 11 and 2. And there's loads there. Free face painting. There's a meet and greet with your favourite Easter bunny, Peter Rabbit, between 11 and 1. A scavenger golden egg hunt with prizes to be won, a selfie area, and a meet and greet with Ian's Easter mobile farm animals. Absolutely stacks going on at Marshall's Yard. And likewise at Rand Farm Park, who are inviting you to hop into Lincolnshire's first immersive Easter experience, where every paying child receives an Easter egg from the Easter Bunny. Rand Farm Park sponsored last week's Links Pod, and when I was there, I caught up with someone very special to find out a little bit more. I've managed to stop her moving about for a second. Could you tell us who you are, please?
Yes, of course. Well, I am Ebony, like a bunny. I'm the Easter Bunny's assistant.
Okay, the Easter Bunny's assistant.
Yeah,
I've actually
yeah.
met the Easter Bunny's
Important
assistant.
job.
So you're going to be here all through the Easter period at
Yep,
Ram Farm Park.
of course I am.
The children come into this room. What happens next?
Well, they're welcomed into the burrows, you see. In every room, we've got a little task, a little challenge, because the Easter Bunny has split the great golden egg into 3 pieces. They have to find all the pieces with little clues, little actions, little dances and things, because when they get the whole golden egg, they get a chocky egg reward.
Sounds good. I would get yourself down here for Easter, Ram Farm Park, definitely. Ebony, the Easter Bunny's assistant, will be here. And another thing I did whilst at Ram Farm Park is invite some of the staff to play the big quiz. Let's have names, please.
I'm Jed.
Josh.
Becky.
And these people say they're going to get 10 out of 10 on the big quiz. Are you ready?
Yes.
Then we'll start the clock. Let's go. Number 1. Oh, relevant, sort of. What is the largest living ape?
Silverback.
Okay. Interesting. I think you've been more specific than you need to be. Be less specific.
Gorilla.
Number 2. In which country are the Magyars the largest ethnic group?
Difficult. Which country?
Yes. In which country
think
are the
South
Magyars the largest ethnic group?
No, I know. I'm thinking South America.
Well, I was thinking Africa.
Yeah.
Remember when I said the clock's ticking, right?
Pick a country, Becky.
South America.
South America.
No, it's a continent. A country in South, also a continent.
Peru?
Yeah, fine. Peru.
Thank you. We're out of time. Number 3. Which month represents a letter in the NATO alphabet? Let me read that again. You all look like I've said something in a different
single
language.
syllable, so I'm thinking May.
Which month represents a letter in the NATO alphabet?
I think May.
Okay.
No.
Number 4. Which light, silvery,
Guess that.
white, metallic element has the symbol Mg?
Magnesium.
Number 5. Whose first solo UK number 1 was called I Just Called to Say I Love You? Does that ring a bell?
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
It rings a bell.
Come on, you're the oldest here.
I am, yeah. Stevie Wonder.
Oh, number 6. Which of these hits by All Saints was a number 1? I Know Where It's At, Booty Call, or Rock Steady? Only one of those was a number 1.
I wouldn't have gone any of those.
Right. Would say
like
one.
Pure Shores or Black Coffee was mine.
What you've got to do is pick one of the 3.
Go again. Let's pick
It's I Know Where It's At, Booty Call, or Rock Steady?
Rocksteady?
as
Rocksteady?
good as anything.
Happy? Right, number 7. This is the longest quiz we've ever had. How many events are included in a heptathlon?
5.
Okay, number 8.
No, 7.
Oh,
7.
okay, I'll allow you to change it. On which cricket ground was the first test match between England and Australia played in 1880? Just say cricket
Name
ground.
one cricket ground
Yeah.
would be...
Say that one.
Okay,
Lords.
yeah, great. Lords,
Lords.
yeah.
Number
I'd probably say
9.
rugby ground, but...
What's the name of Batman's butler?
Robin?
Right, number 10.
No, hey, that wasn't a guess. That was I was
you
conferring.
look like you were
I was
saying
conferring. I was conferring.
Still conferring.
I don't know who it is. It's probably
Batman's
Robin.
butler.
Batman's
I don't-
butler?
Not sure.
You're the reader.
I don't know Batman.
You read
Can
Batman.
we phone a friend? Or...
No.
is that the wrong quiz?
I'm going to move on. I think I'm at your level for number 10. What colour is the Teletubby Tinky Winky?
Purple.
Well done.
Oh, straight in.
Straight in.
Stop the clock and let's go through these. The largest living ape, I wanted gorilla. Yeah,
Lovely.
Well
very
done.
specific answer. The Magyars, our largest ethnic group in Hungary, believe it or not. Yeah,
We had 2 consonant guesses and neither of them were right.
nowhere near. The month represented by a letter in the native alphabet is November. November, Foxtrot, Delta, you know, all that.
Is that native? That's stuff. If you said phonetic alphabet, I'd have got that.
I didn't know that.
Well, it's the NATO phonetic alphabet.
Oh,
I mean,
no, I'm not having that. I think we should have a re-question.
Re-quiz, whole quiz, do it again.
goodness sake.
Try again.
The silvery white metallic element is magnesium. I Just Called to Say I Love You, Stevie Wonder, you got that?
Yeah.
The All Saints hit was a booty call. Number 7's answer was 7 with heptathlon, you can have that.
Saved it.
The cricket ground was the oval. Batman's butler's Alfred and Teletubby Tinky Winky is purple. Not bad, I think.
Bad 9 out of 10, that.
How many?
9 out of 10. Not bad.
That's not what I've got.
Well,
it
we
to.
only had 9 fair questions.
Yeah,
That's
that's
full marks.
Did we?
9 out of
We
9.
got Gorilla, we got Stevie Wonder, that's 2. Heptathlon, 3.
Magnesium before that.
It's 4. I don't think we got magnesium,
We
did we?
definitely
Yeah,
got
we did.
magnesium.
Did
All
we?
three of us said magnesium.
They did. 5 points.
Oh, lovely.
Out of
Not
9,
bad.
that's not bad.
5 out of 10.
Well done.
Congratulations.
Never miss an episode of Links Pod. Subscribe now, wherever you get your podcasts.
This episode of Links Pod is sponsored by Stokes Tea and Coffee. Generations of flavour, crafted in Lincoln. Let's head back to Stokes right now for a tour of their incredible place in Uphill Lincoln.
Links Pod.
So this is the training centre. So this is where we do all the training. So for people, say if you bought a cafe and you need to learn how to make coffee,
Yeah.
this is where we do it all.
This is the con.
Also,
is there a lot of that going on?
Yeah. We do the 3-day courses like it's City and Guild, so you get a certification at the end of it. But also people just, like the home barista course, we sold loads of them Christmas
really?
presents and stuff, yeah.
Wow, so people
So
come...
if you've got a machine at home or
Yeah.
you want to learn a bit about coffee and how to get the best out of your machine, you do that.
Wow. Do some people have a machine of that quality in their home?
Well, I'm sure some people do. These are commercial machines, but the smaller versions would be suitable for home use as well.
Amazing.
But a lot of people at home now, they've got like the bean to cup, so you just press a button and it does it all for you.
Does it all for you? Yeah.
Yeah, but even that, you can learn different techniques to make it better.
Right.
So, like these are all the.
And
kind of bean
can
to
those
cup.
machines ever rival those machines?
Not yet.
Right.
No. What you get with the bean to cup is it's consistently good, but with those you could get an amazing cup of coffee, or you could get a really bad cup of coffee,
Depending on who's
operating it. Yeah.
Right. Well, what we got here, Nick?
Well,
What's
this is coffee that's been roasted. Coffee goes in here. The green coffee gets sucked up there, roasts in there, comes out here, and then drops into there.
Wow. And these machines are so, like we were talking about upstairs, they can make the same blend repeatedly.
Yeah.
And is that down to where the beans came from? And how much?
Well, so for a blend, what we'll do, we'll buy different harvests and we'll taste it. It's called cupping.
Right.
So you taste it every time you've roasted to make sure you've got the right flavours. This was the original coffee roaster, and you used to have to turn it by hand. Really? Yeah. So there would be a flame going up, and that's how you would. So that's really how the business started, with one of those. And this is an old tea blender. So you put your different teas in there, turn it round, drop it into the drawer, and you've got a blend.
You've got a blend of tea. Where are we now, Nick?
So we're in the Blue Room, which is a multi-purpose space, really. We do theatre events, music. There are classes here, conferences. You can hire it for parties.
It's an amazing space.
I teach a fitness class on a Thursday morning.
Do
here,
you?
So yeah.
What is it? Aerobics?
I call it dance fit.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
I should get myself along to that.
Keeps me going. And,
Well, it seems to be. This man does dance fit. This man does not do dance fit. Spot the difference.
From Grimsby to Sleaford, Scunthorpe to Mablethorpe, this is Links Pod.
This is the Links Pod, the podcast for Lincolnshire, and I'm John Marshall. Prices to advertise on Links Pod start from as little as £100, so why not find out more about promoting your business right here? Email me, I'm john@linkspod.co.uk, and let's get the conversation started. Okay, let's talk movies.
Links Pod.
It's all cinema this time, Peter.
It absolutely is, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff coming out in the next sort of month and a half. We've got a film called Sinners, which is the first on the list.
Well, I like it when you say the title and I have to try and imagine what that is. I mean, they've obviously committed some sort of sin. It sounds quite adult, not a child's film. Am I guessing correctly?
It's certainly not a child's film, no. It's the new film by Ryan Coogler, who's the man behind the Black Panther films. Cinematic universe. It tells the story of two brothers, both played by Michael B. Jordan, who return to their hometown and discover it's been taken over by some sinister creatures.
He's playing two brothers.
Two brothers, twins, yeah.
Do you think they pay him double?
I think they probably pay him very handsomely.
Right.
Yes, I would imagine.
The story, what goes on?
So I think they're sort of travelling musicians out, from what I can decipher from the trailer, and they return home, and the town's been overtaken by a sinister force, basically.
Oh, supernatural, maybe.
Yeah, I can't quite figure out if it may be demons or vampires, something like that.
But you like the horror, so
This is right up my street.
Is it? So you'll definitely be getting a ticket for this one.
Yeah, it looks very sort of dark and scary, and a bit of action as well, I think.
When is Sinners out,
That's
Peter?
on the 18th of April.
Okay, that's film number 1 this time around. What else you got for us?
So the next up, this is a bit more family-friendly, a film called The Legend of Ochi.
Ochi?
Ochi, yes.
Okay, I've not heard of Ochi. I've heard of The Legend of Zelda, but not Ochi.
Yeah,
Who's Ochi?
So this tells us, I think it's set in Scandinavia somewhere, and it's basically about a group of people who come into contact with this race of animals called the Ochi. And then the young girl, as part of the group, finds a stranded baby Ochi and takes it under her wing and endeavours to return it to their family.
Oh, so it's a like the Na'vi in Avatar.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
The Ochi are another breed,
Yeah, I mean, they're more sort of beastly characters.
Oh, are they?
And this group of people sort of see them as a threat, and the children are sort of taught to fear them and protect themselves from them, not go out at night, and things like that. So this young girl is doing something that she shouldn't be doing, because she's taking one into her care and embarks on a journey to return it to its family.
Bit like E.T.?
Kind of.
Right,
Yeah,
I've got an E.T.
vibe with it, yeah, definitely.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
interesting. Right, well, 2 films in already.
We are.
Sinners and The Legend of
Ochi.
Ochi. I'm going to mispronounce that a lot. Okay, is there more?
There is more. There's quite a lot coming out. We've got Thunderbolts, which is a Marvel film. It's the latest Marvel film.
Well, I've not heard of who's the character, who's the big superhero.
So this is. Are you familiar with the Suicide Squad?
Yes.
So this is sort of the Marvel version of the Suicide Squad. So these are all sort of anti-heroes from the Marvel universe. So you've got Winter Soldier, you've got Ghost, you've got a couple of characters from the Black Widow film, and yeah, so it's sort of this mashup of the bad guys.
Are you into these films, or is horror your thing, or do you like a Marvel?
I do. I mean, unfortunately, the Marvel universe has sort of taken a bit of a dip quite recently.
Oh,
so hopefully,
hang on, Peter's getting controversial now. There'll be people who don't agree with you, surely.
I would imagine that most people would agree with me.
Oh, really?
The quality's definitely sort of dipped as of late, but this could be the one that sort of brings it back to life.
I'll tell you what I find with them. My daughter seems to know a lot more than me. So she'll say, this bit that's happening now refers to something that was in this other. You've got to sort of watch them all and make notes before you can keep up.
Yeah, I think we're so far down that road with them now that it's harder. And there's television series that sort of are in that universe. So there's a lot to keep up with.
There's a lot to keep you going.
Yeah.
All right, so a new Marvel movie.
That's out on the 2nd of May.
2nd of May, right, okay. Do go on, Peter.
Okay, so we've got... Well, this is a really big one. This is the next Mission Impossible film, Final Reckoning.
Now I like those. In fact, I watched a TikTok earlier of that time Tom Cruise did that jump across that building and broke his leg and just carried on with the shot. His first words after breaking his leg were, "Did we get that?"
Did we get that? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a powerhouse, really, when it comes to cinema and box office, especially. It's going to be another big action piece. From the trailer, again, it's probably more of the same. There's a lot of fans of the Mission Impossible franchise, and this was sort of pegged to be the final installation as well. Installment. Yeah. The final installment, but he's since said in recent interviews that he's probably going to do more.
Well, he still looks about 35, doesn't he? So he's probably got a few more Mission Impossibles in him.
And it's to date the most expensive movie ever made.
Is it?
$400 million.
Wow.
I don't know how much of that went to Tom Cruise, but probably
375 probably. I like that bit on Mission Impossible when they take their masks off. It's very clever.
Yeah.
The effects are always stunning, aren't they, in Mission Impossible?
Absolutely.
And he does them all himself, doesn't he, those stunts?
Yeah.
He doesn't take his own face off, but everything else.
Yeah, I don't think there's many that he hasn't done these. Yeah, I mean, even as far back as Mission Impossible 2, sort of abseiling with no harness and things like that. He's a powerhouse.
Well, he is. Right, new Mission Impossible film. I didn't even know they were doing one, so it's good you come in, Peter, because people wouldn't be aware of this stuff without your help, mate. More?
So the back end of May, we've got Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, no, I've heard of that. Is that a video game?
No, it's a Disney film from the late 90s, I think the original was, and this is the live-action remake.
Live action? Like last time you were talking about a film that was being remade. Was it Mario? No, we did Mario as a streaming recommendation, didn't we? Yeah.
So yes, this is, I mean, Lilo and Stitch it's had some kind of revival recently, because if you go in any clothes shop, you'll see pajamas, you see t-shirts, you see absolutely everything, plushies, pillows. But now they're remaking it. The live action remakes for Disney have not been the most successful critically, I suppose.
Okay.
But they've been popular at the box office.
Right.
Children are going to absolutely lap it up, I think.
And are they, Lilo and Stitch, are they animated or are they...
Lilo, who's the... no, Stitch is the alien, I think, if I remember rightly.
Right.
I can't remember which way around it is. But the little alien is animated, and then there's the human cast is live action.
Okay. Sounds like an interesting concept. We'll see how that goes. I'm thinking of Roger Rabbit when I think of blending live action with animation. Okay.
Classic film.
It is, yeah. Bob Hoskins, isn't it?
Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, sorry, I've gone off at a tangent. Yeah. Sorry about that, Peter, yeah.
No, I could talk for hours about Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but
you can if you want. We could do a separate episode, maybe. Is there more? Because there's a lot of films we've covered today.
No, that's it. That's it for the sort of big cinema releases. There's a couple of bits. I believe there's a new Romeo. No, it's called Juliet and Romeo. A new version of Romeo and Juliet.
Is that their twist on it? They've just put the names in a different order.
Well, I think it's based on a musical version of Romeo and Juliet, and then I believe that's coming out at some point in May.
I'm trying to assess whether you would be interested in that. You get horror, Marvel, and a musical version of Romeo and Juliet called Juliet and Romeo. Okay.
I don't think I would.
Let's not bother with that one. No. Maybe it'll be great. It'll probably win all the awards now we've said that, but okay. Peter, you're very good at this, and you're building a big fan base on the Links pod. I've noticed that with the comments coming in. So we'll see you again in a few weeks, will we?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Never miss an episode of Links Pod. Subscribe now, wherever you get your podcasts.
Now on Links Pod, perfect for Easter, a trip to Baths Hall at Scunthorpe and a chocolatey challenge. Okay, Ant Edwards is here. He's geared up, ready for the big challenge this week. Could you describe what the challenge is, Ant?
So a couple Maltesers and got to use the chopsticks and eat them.
Yes, that's simple as that. Are you a chopstick fan? Or do you use that instead of knife and fork at home?
No, knife and fork every time.
Every time.
Use chopsticks.
No, I think it's a bad invention. I mean, it's been superseded. The knife and fork's a better invention, right?
Absolutely. And these are posh ones as well, the metal.
They are. I borrowed them off my daughter. She's very posh. Okay, so, have you got a stopwatch there, Zoe? On your marks?
Oh, give me a minute.
That's how long we're going to give Ant. Ant's going to have 1 minute to eat as many Maltesers with chopsticks as he can. And are we ready? Yeah. Set, go. Okay, straight in there. And now in rehearsal, Ant did pick up a Malteser, but it took him 5 minutes to get it on the end of his chopsticks. Let's see. He's got one. One's in. Is another one going in? Let's see. Another one is going in. Yeah, 2. He's had 2. Is number 3 going to go in? How are we doing for time, Zoe?
I'm on a roll.
20 seconds in. Oh, he's good at this.
I'm going to finish off the cup.
He's secretly Japanese, I think. Yeah.
Surprised myself.
Was that 4 so far?
Yes.
4. Yeah. Don't lose count, Zoe. That's your job. 4. Number 5, he's struggling a bit. Oh, he's got 5. Yeah, 5.
Might need another pack of Maltesers.
Yeah. I didn't expect you to be this good. This is showing me up here.
I'm surprised.
Is it how long? 50 seconds. 8. 8 and 5 seconds to go. Can he get number 9 in? He has to restock.
Oh, nearly.
8 points. Wow. 8. That's really good, Ant.
Shocked myself.
Okay, very impressive. Can I beat him? Let's find out.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, 2 at once. Oh, I'm not sure you're rest. You see, I was going for the proper method. That's the cheating method.
I can't remember.
That's not proper. No, that's not proper.
You made me shake now.
No, you need to squeeze the Maltesers. You're just you're. I think he's cheating. Are you counting?
Yeah, 6.
Damn it.
6, 7, 8.
But he's not doing the proper method.
You can't chew, you can't chew.
I'm only nervous. How long have I got?
30 seconds.
30 more?
Yeah, slow down.
Might need a top up here.
Have a drink.
Oh, he's struggling now. He's going for this proper squeeze now.
You made me think I was cheat. Now I feel bad about it.
Mind you didn't say what the rules were.
Oh.
No.
Why has it gone so badly? I was doing so well.
It's the pressure.
I know. I think they're melting in here.
Here we go. Oh, nearly. Oh, no.
It's because they're further down, I think.
3,
Oh, that's another one.
2, 1, stop.
That was your job.
How many to go? 11. Okay, but there's a bit of dispute going on about whether I did it fair and square or not.
Well,
I didn't say one at once.
You did 10 by 30 seconds, and then you just did 1 in the last.
I think the further down they are, the harder it is, though. It's not criticising me. She's very critical. She's like this at work.
No, she's lovely, Zoe.
Thank you very much, you lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Links Pod.
Now on Links Pod, here comes something I think you'll want to go to, something I think will interest you as much as it did me. Let's meet a young chap from Lincolnshire who knows more than a thing or two about the history of this amazing county.
I'm Ryan Gomartin, an actor and writer from Spalding.
Very good to meet you, Ryan, and thanks for coming down here to be on the Links Pod. Now, tell us a little bit about yourself, then we'll get into very particularly what it is you're currently up to, but a bit of your history, Ryan.
Yeah, so I'm born and bred in Spalding, and I kind of from about the age of 14, 15, I knew I wanted to be an actor, did a lot of it as a kid, and went to drama school in Manchester, and that was when I kind of realised it kind of what took me to where I am today. I met a lot of people who had a sense of where they were from, and I was like, I'm just from near Peterborough, is often what I say. And that didn't feel right, you know. And so I kind of took me on this journey to try and think about what does Lincolnshire mean to me. And there's got to be some kind of history that we're known for. Because I think North Lincolnshire does a better job of knowing what it's for. You know, especially, you know, people love the Red Arrows and tanks and up here. Whereas I think in the south of the county, we're not as good at kind of talking about our history. So kind of went to drama school, met a lot of people who had a sense of where they're from. That made me think, where am I from? Then since then, I've been awarded 4 Arts Council awards, which is great. So I do a lot of that work back in Spalding and South Holland. So that's often running projects with young people. Quite a mix of stuff. I've done a pop-up photography exhibition in a gallery in Long Sutton. Not in a gallery, in a co-op in Long Sutton.
In a co-op?
Yeah, in a co-op.
Well, that's a story. How did you land in a co-op for that?
I mean, it's partly a place of going where it's free, going where people can actually just like come across it, you know, taking the faff
right,
out.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
You don't have to. Where we had a venue lined up, but you had to go through a door, and then there was someone on reception. You had to say what you were there for, and it was just a faff. Like, they're just coming to see some photos. So we thought, right, co-op, they can do it whilst they're shopping. The co-op, great, let's have it for free, and we're kind of well up for it. So yeah, it was. You could actually go in, you could vote on the artworks.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so that's what I'm all about. It's kind of helping people. I've kind of done this little manifesto in my head of like helping people answer 3 questions, which is who am I, where am I, and where do I belong?
Right.
So whether you're a young person or you've just moved to Lincolnshire, if you come and take part in any of my projects, it should hopefully help you explore those 3 questions.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Specifically, tell me about this show that you're rolling out.
Yeah,
Ryan.
so this show is happening in June across Lincolnshire. It's called Henry VIII Used to Hate Us, and it is about that fact that Henry VIII did used to hate us.
We've got to go straight in there, don't we? Henry VIII used to... I mean, I don't want to spoil the show and people not come to it. What on earth did he hate us for?
Henry VIII called us in Lincolnshire the most brute and beastly in the realm. So at one point, we were his least favourite county. I don't know if you know this, John, we were quite a rebellious county. We used to be extremely fiercely independent, and we were almost like, I wouldn't say behind the times, we were beautifully just doing our own thing for many years. So while, especially in the medieval times, everyone else is already farming and, you know, there's a whole feudal system going on. We were like, even up this way, a big marshland, right? We were doing our own thing. We were able to kind of feed ourselves off the land. We didn't need to have fields or grow our own food. We just, we ate the birds that were here. We ate the fish that were here. We had a market in London that wanted that fish, so we were able to sell that way. And we were just very self-sustaining.
And he didn't like this?
Well, so Henry VIII is a little history lesson. I used to find this bit very boring at school because I'm not a historian, I should clarify. I'm someone for Lincolnshire who just loves local history.
Yeah.
There's this thing called the Reformation, which is when Henry VIII kind of split away, created his own church, which I suppose is the Church of England. And he also was like, hey, there's all these monasteries, and that if I kind of close them down, I can get all the money from them. It was a huge cash grab, essentially.
Okay.
Almost worth like billions of pounds in today's money.
It's like the mafia. Yeah, the old.
Like that. It was like, well, you guys don't need it anymore. I'll take that.
I'll take that. Yeah.
And as part of that, in the old days, if you had a little, maybe you'd inherited something from your mum or dad, it could be a cup or something that was worth a bit of money, and you probably didn't want to keep it in your house, you'd kind of lend it to the local church, a bit like a bank today. They would have it for safekeeping. When people heard about Henry VIII doing this stuff, that they were going to start to kind of not just go for the big monasteries and the cathedrals like in Lincoln, but smaller churches, people were worried about that, and they were worried that those kind of heirlooms would be taken and melted down and whatever. And it was called the Lincoln Uprising. So it started in Horncastle and Louth. Wow. Loads of people kind of went along their way. They took over Lincoln Cathedral for a few days. So thousands of people were in Lincoln Cathedral, almost like camping out. And it kind of all went wrong. But Lincolnshire has a bit of a history of kind of revolutions or movements happening, and they fail, but then they kind of always come back, over 50 or 100 years. There is this rebellious spirit.
I've lived in Lincoln all my life. I don't know about this. People are learning stuff from you already, Ryan. Nice. Carry on. I want to know more about it.
That's one of the stories. Henry VIII, we really annoyed him. They wrote to him. It's in Wolf Hall. It's in the latest series of Wolf Hall, if you like that series. Henry VIII gets this letter, and he's like, God, these people in Lincolnshire, so disrespectful.
Right.
And he dispatches an army to come take care of us. And we did peacefully go away, but Henry VIII didn't let us get away. He took the ringleaders and kind of hung them. And then he came back on a victory tour 5 years later of Lincolnshire.
Right.
And kind of just rubbed it in.
Did he?
And I think it's almost like modern politics today. He came and he was given some money as a peace offering. It has a lot of parallels with how a modern politician might do something today.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's one of the stories, and we have 3 others.
So so the show is divided into 4 different stories.
That's right.
Yeah?
Yeah, that kind of cover different parts of the county and through different time periods. The whole show is I'm very much influenced by Peaky Blinders.
Oh yeah.
That show, it's super cool. It's very moody, isn't it? It's got a lot of feeling. And I always say, this show, I want it to be light on facts and dates and heavy on feeling.
Right.
So we don't kind of say, in 12 so-and-so, it's not about dates. It's about that sensation of what it feels like to be here in these different moments. So the show itself kind of goes from almost like the 1200s all the way to about the 1900s.
Okay.
Through these kind of 4 stories.
Oh, okay. Well, we've heard quite a bit about one of them. Tell me, what about the other 3?
So we've got 3 others. One is about a brother and a sister called St. Guthlac and St. Pegah. Now, St. Guthlac he's quite a big deal. He's in the British Library. There's this thing called the Guthlac Roll. He was in Crowland. He was a guy from kind of the Midlands who kind of started off as a soldier and then decided he wanted to become a kind of hermit almost. And we've taken that story. So he's in the British Library. You can find him, but his sister's kind of really forgotten about. When you look at it through modern eyes, she always wanted to be a nun, and then when your brother comes along, decides to convert from being a soldier to, you know, a religious person and then gets all the glory and he's the one we remember now, I think she'd feel, as any human would, you know, you feel pretty annoyed.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Also, he kind of sent her away. So St. Guthlac has these visions. Again, the Guthlac role is these pictures of him like fighting with these big beasts and all that kind of stuff. There's 3 different stories about what's going on here. So did he really see demons? You know, so that's the religious version was like this guy fights demons and kind of purified the area. There's also the fact, this leads into our next bit of history in the show. There's also, he could be suffering from malaria. That, you know, malaria,
okay.
You see like, you have extreme fevers and you can have
Delusions. Yes.
Or as a result of having malaria, he might be taking something. In the Fens, we used to grow a lot of poppies. And he used to make a thing called poppy head tea, which is essentially a form of opium or an opiate.
Is it?
And you can kind of trip off that.
So we don't hallucinogenic.
Quite know, yeah, hallucinogenic.
Right.
So we don't quite know what he was seeing, but we explore that in the show. Then we've got this guy called Herod the Wake, who, John, remember years ago, used to be a station called Herod FM.
They did?
That's right. And I was like, why? That's a weird name. And then, so it's named after this guy called Herod the Wake. So that's that's almost more South Lincolnshire into Cambridgeshire, that guy. He was this kind of like freedom fighter. But again, he's got, you know, there's different stories of how he kind of how the story goes.
Okay.
And kind of what ended up. You know, he would say that the official story is that he kind of like makes Ely a fortress. This is when William the Conqueror's knocking around, and he kind of defends it, annoys the Normans, and he kind of repels them quite a few times. And then eventually a monk in Ely gets sick of this and actually shows the Normans a safe path through the Fens. Oh. And the Normans are able to kind of come in and take over Ely. Now, the official story is that, you know, him and William the Conqueror shake hands and say, "Oh, well done, mate. You know, that was fun, wasn't it?" And he's allowed to kind of peacefully go about his life. I feel like in today's world, again, if this was the real world, that isn't quite... If someone's been such a rebel to you, why would you just let them go, right? So there's different theories that maybe he escaped to Europe or that he died when Ely was taken over. There's different theories. So in that one, it's all about, a bit like Churchill, about how you control your image. Right. So I came across this great thing when Gary Oldman was being Churchill in that film. He said Churchill knew all the stuff we know about Churchill today, the cigar and the V sign. He already wanted you to think that way. So he thought about what we talk about branding today.
Really?
He was aware that he wanted people to purposely think of those things when he thought of Churchill.
Wow.
So we applied that to Herod the Wake, that okay, he's this guy, and you're in the room and he's trying to almost control his image.
Yeah.
You know, of kind of, yeah.
But Churchill might not have even liked that cigar. It's part of the brand.
Yeah, he just very clear in the look that he wanted. It's these parallels, you know. Yeah. And then the last story is about, this is one people find the most interesting in the show, is about, we had the highest rate of opium use outside of London for centuries. Yeah.
What? Down to those poppies again? Or
that's right.
Is it?
Because malaria was such a big thing here, you know, you still have to work. You still got to look after your kids. And so you would take some form of opium. Normally, people used to grow these white poppies in their gardens. You'd make a tea out of it. And that would just kind of help take the edge off. The symptoms of malaria is you have a lot of shaking and fever. That kind of brings that down and means you can go about your work. And then as kind of technology changed, so we get into the 1800s, 1900s, we then moved into something, I've got a little bottle with me, into something that is called like laudanum, which is kind of an alcohol opium mix. And so actually, ironically, it got stronger and more potent as time went on.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not going to say it's, you know, I'm not saying everyone can take it, but it started off quite natural, this poppy head tea, and then became this very potent, powerful thing. And very sadly, as a result of that high opium rate, we had a really high child mortality rate.
Oh, did we?
You know, if you went to work, you'd leave, you know, your kid and 20 other kids with the local woman, and she would kind of give them some of this to kind of make them go to sleep, and sometimes they'd be given too much.
Oh, okay.
It's a sad story about kind of the downside of kind of that use.
You discover all this because you were putting a show together, or was you already...
Just like I said, when I was about 19, 20, as a result of kind of feeling like I didn't really know where I was from, and other people had a sense where they're from, I was like, there's got to be something. So I think I got on YouTube first of all, and there's this thing called the Fen Tigers. I was like, who are these people? And they're kind of, it's very like Peaky Blinder-esque kind of, this kind of violent group who kind of blew up the dikes that were in the drainage system that was happening. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Because I, you know, like any guy, stereotypically, guys like kind of wars and battles and history. So I was like, oh yeah, I can get on that. And then it just drip fed from there and snowballed. And so now, you know, about 10 years later, the show is a collection of all the bits of history I've picked up along the way. So again, I don't have a history degree or anything like that. I'm from Lincolnshire and I happen to...
You're an enthusiast.
Yeah.
But you're a good storyteller. That's very clear. I'm barely having to chip in here. Right, people are ready now to know when they can see this show, Ryan. And, tell us a bit. June, did you say?
Yeah, so it's taken a place across Lincolnshire in June. So it's kind of almost split into a North Lincolnshire and South Lincolnshire tour. So we're going as far as Grimsby. We're going to tour to Lincoln, Newark. We're then kind of in the middle. We're going to Coningsby at Tattershall Castle, and then in the south of the county, we're doing Spalding, Boston, and Holbeach. I'm also going to Peterborough as well. And another thing about the venues is these are all venues that are they're not theatres.
They're all co-ops.
Oh, no. I wish, no. They're just a mix of places. So, for example, in Newark, we're going to a place called Cat Asylum Brewery. We're hoping to go to Lincoln Cathedral. We're going to a food market in Grimsby. We're going to a football club in Holbeach. So it's a mix of like heritage venues, community spaces, places where people already go and are familiar with. And we don't want to kind of do it in a theatre and I'm worried it might put some people off. So it's a place that people kind of might go for a function or something.
Oh, I like it. Okay, right. And how do people get the tickets to come and see this, Ryan?
Yeah. So at the moment, there will be a ticket link. At the moment, the simplest way is to follow me on social media. Or I've got a website as well. I'll probably put the links in the description. But my Instagram.
They're on the screen now because I know how to do that.
Hey,
so
perfect,
as we're talking, they're on the screen, Ryan.
You can find me on my website or my social media, and you'll see the posts that are coming.
Yeah.
So yeah, nice and simple to get along to it. It's in June, and we'd love to have you. Yeah, whether you are a history enthusiast or you kind of just want to see what it's all about. And also we've got some food, so it covers local history.
Wait a minute. You had me before. Now you've.
That's right.
There's food.
There is little nibbles.
Nibbles of what? The food from the time.
Well, I suppose two things that we might be known for, which is Lincolnshire poacher cheese.
Yes.
Yeah, which everyone loves, and Lincolnshire plum bread.
Yeah.
So they were going to be given out because literally, John, I was like 30 years old until I first had Lincolnshire poacher cheese.
No, were you?
Yeah. Yeah,
with a bit of plum bread at the same time. Oh,
yeah.
It's a winning combo.
But there's a lot of people who don't have that. It's all about that sense of pride. I think we as a county don't do a good enough job of like people within the county knowing about these things.
Yeah.
Like Lincolnshire poacher cheese, you'll often find outside of the county at quite high end delicatessens and things like that. And yet here you can't. You can't go to Tesco's. It's not there. Do you know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
Like, would we have that with other places? There's also a little fact for your listeners. Lincolnshire sausages. Did you know that they're not actually made in Lincolnshire?
None of them? Well, some of them are.
5%, John.
5% of Lincolnshire sausages are made in Lincolnshire? Really?
Yeah. So this came about, you can read, this is kind of whilst I was still at school. So there's this lovely group of people called the Lincolnshire Sausage Association.
Yes, I've had some sausages from them in the past.
So in the kind of mid-2000s, they started this campaign. So a bit like today, how, Parmesan cheese or champagne, it has that kind of yellow sticker on it, little motorport pies, and that means you can only call it that if it's been made in that place. And these Lincolnshire Sausage Association people were like, hey, let's get that for Lincolnshire sausages. They tried 3 times to kind of get that accreditation, and DEFRA, so the kind of government body for food, turned around and said, 95% of Lincolnshire sausages are made outside the county, and it would affect jobs if this happened, which I think is a load of, rubbish.
It sounds like a big... there's a lot of local butcher shops who make their own Lincolnshire sausages.
Yeah, if you do want to get one, I'm sure we all have our favourite butchers. That's the best way to get a true Lincolnshire sausage.
You're saying if you go into the supermarket and it says Lincolnshire sausage, that's unlikely.
It's made in Lincolnshire, yeah.
It's been made in Lincolnshire, unlikely.
And it's really sad that, the last time anything happened was 2012. So currently it's dead in the water, that campaign.
Is it?
Therefore, just kind of shot it down.
Right, sort out the sausages and get tickets for Ryan's gigs. They're the 2 messages from this big interview. Ryan has also done a film. You should tell us about that before you go.
Yeah, so it's a short film and it's called Sent Nowhere. And I think something I love about Lincolnshire is that we often have these little villages that will be called, something sent whatever. And in my family, it's a bit of a joke that these places are a shorthand for living in the sticks. And there's so many of these kind of sent places that I thought, right, we're going to call this film Sent Nowhere. And it's actually also about she's a young person who's moved from the city into somewhere like Lincolnshire, and she feels she's been sent to the middle of nowhere.
Oh, okay.
And it's about a local wildfowler, so that's someone who kind of kills birds for a living, and they kind of clash with this girl who's come from a bigger city over kind of... Because, in a city, you can kind of get away with stuff. Like, people don't really ask questions, you're more invisible, whereas in a rural area, people will be like, what are you doing? And you're more visible, and the film is about those two clashing. It's actually about grief. So she wants to create a DIY memorial for her mum. So she has this kind of wheelchair that she took her mum onto the marsh. She wants to kind of leave it there and kind of make a little shrine almost. And he's like, no, not in Lincolnshire. That doesn't work. You know, that's fly tipping.
Yeah.
You know, the scrap man needs to take that away. And so that's kind of the start of the film.
Okay.
And actually, it's about these two quite lonely young people who kind of connect over their grief. And the two theories about grief is it better to, if you ever had to clear anyone's house out who's passed away, it's like, do I keep these objects? Are they meaningful to me? Or actually, like, can their memory, does something else remind me of them? You know, do I, and I know for me, when I went through that, like, the person who I lost, I was in the room as it happens. Like, 1 minute I was like, oh, that's my nan's little, like, cat statue. But the moment she'd passed, it just became just a thing.
Just a thing. Oh,
You
right,
know,
yeah,
it's so
yeah.
strange. So for some people, the object is extremely important to them.
Sure.
So in this case, this girl in the wheelchair, for some people, it's just about like being here or the landscape, or if it's somewhere they loved coming to, that is enough to remember them.
Sure.
So that's what the film's about.
You were in it, but did you write it as well?
Yeah, I did the old Little Britain thing, yeah.
Did you?
I wrote the theme. I didn't write the theme tune, but I did pretty much everything else, yeah. So I acted in
Fantastic.
it, I wrote it, and I produced it.
How can people see this?
There'll be a link. It's
I got the socials
that's
again.
it, yeah,
Your
it's-
socials have shot up faster than mine.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's on my website as well. It's by the time this comes out, this might have happened. But it's gone to 5 film festivals, including Manchester Film Festival. But it's also just screened in Spalding. So at the end of March, we're having a screening in Spalding, which is like a hometown screening.
Good luck for you.
Yeah,
And the term short film, is there a limit on how short a short film needs to be?
Technically, it's up to 40 minutes.
Is it?
Yeah, but most time they're anything between 5 to 20 minutes. short film.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Ryan, you're doing some great, exciting stuff, and what an enthusiastic chap. Right, that's Ryan, everybody. Get following him on the socials. It says it again on the screen now because I'm a dab hand with the technology and the editing. Good to talk.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Thank you, John.
From Grimsby to Sleaford, Scunthorpe to Mablethorpe, this is LinksPod.
And now on LinksPod, round 2 of the big quiz. Rand Farm Park staff scored 5 out of 10 earlier. They contested that, but the quizmaster is always right, of course. Anyway, here we go.
OK, 10 questions. Best of luck. Number 1, start the clock. By what name are members of the Society of Friends commonly known?
Rachel, Monica.
Oh my God, that's an amazing answer.
No.
Please. No?
No.
Society of Friends, pass?
Pass.
Yeah, boss. Yeah.
Number 2, what is the fruit of an oak tree called?
Acorn.
You're meant to answer.
Acorn.
Oh, that's it, Scott.
Well
Yeah.
done, mate.
Number 3, complete the proverb, waste not.
One not.
Number 4, what's the body's largest internal organ? Number 5.
Intestines.
Number 1 in the UK, it was called Rat Trap. What's the act? Number 6. What year did Shakin' Stevens top the charts with This Old House and Green Door? Was it 81, 86 or 91?
81.
Number 7. Which British player won the women's singles at Wimbledon in 77?
Go on, G, you were born. Virginia Wade.
Number 8. What's the only athletics track event for men only? Track event. It's on the track. No,
F1.
no, say, listen to your friend.
Steeplechase.
Number 9. The characters Fletcher and Godber appear in which TV series? Fletcher and Godber.
Porridge.
Porridge, right. Number 10. Which TV? In which city is Morse set? Inspector Morse.
Yeah, Cambridgeshire.
Cambridgeshire. Stop the clock. Let's go through them.
Oh dear.
Member of Society of Friends. Brilliant answer from you, but it's the Quakers. Yeah.
Never heard of that.
Number 2. The fruit the oak tree is from. That's an acorn. That's 1 in it. Complete the proverb. Waste not, want not. The body's largest internal organ is not the intestine, it's the liver. So, on 2. Rat Trap, Boomtown Rats. Got that, didn't you? This Old House, 1981. 4. British tennis player was Virginia Wade. Who's on to 5, right? Athletics
cheering.
track event, men only, steeplechase. 6. Fletcher and Godber is porridge. And Morse, yes, that's more like it. Morse is set in Oxford, not Cambridge. 7 points, was that?
I'll take that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, 7. Thank you.
No worries.
Never miss an episode of Links Pod. Subscribe now, wherever you get your podcasts.
This episode of Links Pod has been sponsored by Stokes Tea and Coffee, 120 years of perfecting your brew. And that's it, a wrap for this episode. Thanks to Keza on camera, all the contributors. Please, 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 if you've watched it and enjoyed it, hit subscribe. Next week, it's part 2 of my interview with Links FM's Eddie Shaw. Do not miss that. I'll catch you next week.
LinksPod. Never miss an episode. Subscribe now, wherever you get your podcasts.